We are talking to a designer, Nigel Barker, and I remember you from back in the day as one of the judges on America's Top Model.
I love the back in the day bit.
Well, it's been a little bit.
You're right. You're right. No, of course, it's my own personal hang-up. What can I say?
Well, I'm sorry. How
No.
long's it been? How
No,
long's it been?
it has been a generation, I think. Actually, people come up to me these days and say, oh, you know what? My mother loves you, and I'm thinking, I remember when that used to be you that would say that, but it's all great. It's just you get trapped in your own time vortex. I think Hey.
Well, I'm only 25,
Yeah,
so don't get hung
thank
up
you.
on it.
Thank you.
It was a fun show.
It was a fun show. Guess what? Season 25 is being shot right now, and I did season 24 last year, having had a hiatus for several seasons. I did Top Model for 18 seasons. I started in 2003. And it defined a generation when it comes to fashion. It was the first time fashion had done a reality show, and we broke down a lot of barriers for people to have a good look at how the business worked, and gave people an opportunity to participate in it. And created many, many well-known household names now out of that show.
And you were a fashion photographer.
I am. I still am. I
still
still
do
do that. Absolutely. Designing is something I've always loved doing, but I didn't have the opportunity. It's not easy to become a furniture designer. And actually, it was through photographing the Art Van catalog for Mr. Van back in the day that I remember when he had said to me at one point, we sat down at this meeting and he was asking me about my inspiration for how I would like to photograph the new Art Van catalog. And I said to him cheekily, well, what I would really like to do is my own furniture collection. And I remember him looking at me, laughing, going like, no, I mean your inspiration for the collection. And what I was doing was planting a seed. And at the time, he sort of thought about it. And it was 2 years later where he came back to me, and this is 4 or 5 years ago. He came back to me and said, remember when you said you'd like to do your own furniture collection? Are you still interested? And I said, you know what? It's been my dream since I was about 17, 18 years old.
But how do you make that leap? I mean, how do you go about going from, fashion judge, fashion photographer to designing furniture?
Ask Cindy Crawford, right? Or Kathy Ireland. Or, the reality is that if you have an aesthetic and you have an eye for color, for lines, for symmetry, for detail, these are all things that I look for in a photograph. And of course, personality. And you don't necessarily think personality when you think furniture, but believe me, furniture has absolutely a personality. And when you go and you shop in an Art Van, you look for your personality. Are you traditional? Are you country? Are you modern? What is your style? And does the furniture speak to you? And so for me, every piece that I design, and I work with a fantastic team of designers at Art Van who help bring my pieces to life and help bring my sort of the way I design and the way I show them my inspiration, actually make it into something. Because it's, I'm not a trained classical designer, but I've been collecting furniture since I was a kid. I've been, looking for pieces, designing pieces, actually making pieces from woodwork and metalwork for years. So I appreciate the work. And I remember going around High Point, which is the big furniture market that they have in North Carolina, with Mr. Van for many years, and being inspired by what's possible. And so to bring that all together and to create these collections, and this is my third collection now for Art Van, is really a dream come true. And it's it's not it's a modern collection, but it isn't necessarily modern as everyone would imagine it. I use a lot of natural tones and natural wood and brushed metal, and it's actually very livable and very soft and gentle.
Tell me about this newest collection. What are you featuring in?
Well, I have dining, I have living, I have bedroom, and it's all 3 rooms. And actually, the new campaign for Art Van is Your Home, Your Way. So when you actually enter the store, they've got it divided in a way that if you want to shop modern, you don't have to go all over the store to find it. Where previously you might have to find dining in one area, living in another, and a bedroom in another. You can go and shop modern and go all the way through my collection and know how to actually decorate your house in a style, in a personality that speaks to you. Likewise, if for traditional and everything else. So, my latest collection is based on my life. These are pieces that actually exist in my home. And people often say that to me. They're like, well, are these things that you actually own yourself? And I'm like, yes, actually. And the way how I design and how I look for pieces, some are based on pieces I've actually purchased over the years. Other bits are from, I see interesting design ideas and styles from my travels. One of the countries that I love is Finland. I love Scandinavian countries in general, Norway and Holland. I spent a lot of time in as well this past year. But I get inspired by the designs and the styles that they have in these countries, and because it's one thing for it to be elegant, but you also have to sit on a chair. You also have to lie in a bed, and and for it to work, it has to be comfortable. It can't just and things don't stand the test of time. Timeless and classic isn't just a look, but it's a feel. And that is what's important, is that you put something on and you look elegant, and I talk about put something on because I work in fashion, but so much of my inspiration comes from the runway, from these colors and these tones that I see on the runways from designers like a Valentino or an Armani, and how it transfers down. And of course it inspires my furniture.
Now, do you have pets?
Exactly. I have pets. I have cats,
do they sit on the furniture?
dogs. I have lizards, we have fish, we have them all. I've got 2 kids. I live a busy life. I mean, that's absolutely right. And, I create furniture for someone who lives that life. Even my what I do for a living as a photographer outside of design and stuff, I got a lot of heavy equipment and, it's yes, absolutely. The furniture is designed to be lived on. And there's nothing I like more than looking at the day beds in my house that are part of my collection, and I see my daughter curled up with her headphones on with the cat under her arm, and she's wrapped up in a cashmere blanket, and I'm like, that is exactly what that day bed was designed for. And I see my son playing on the PlayStation, sitting on the sofa that again is in the catalog, and I'm like, yes, that. And for me, almost, that is the best photograph and representation of what it's about. It's about living.
Now, you designed this collection. Did you also do photography for this latest Art Van catalog?
I am involved in it, yes, indeed. So only my aspect of it. But I work with a great team of people, and a guy called Carl Schmidt, who has been working. He worked with me as one of my assistants, and now when I shot for Art Van, and now he actually photographed me in this catalog, which is rather nice. So.
And what do you think about the state of fashion today? And
I actually think the state of fashion is very interesting, and there's been a lot of flux, and not to sort of tap Top Model on the back, or myself on the back, or Tyra on the back, but a show like Top Model that was somewhat ridiculed back in the early days of the show as being too over the top, too silly, reality television, not what the fashion industry is about. Vogue wouldn't touch us. We went on and to have Italian Vogue be our magazine sponsor. The editor at large of American Vogue is one of the judges who sat next to me. We went from being out of Vogue to completely in Vogue, but not at the beginning, but at the end, which is very interesting because, really Vogue, you should have perhaps paid attention earlier on. And if you look what's happening in the fashion industry now, you have models who are handicapped who are representing major brands. And I don't just mean household, sort of brands that are trying to be PC. I'm talking about fashion brands who are saying actually they realize too that no, we should represent the people, and the people want to see role models, who are beautiful from the inside out, as their representatives. And there's a great model called Gillian Mercado who you should all follow, and she's extraordinary, doing amazing things. And full-figured modeling is no longer something of that's a sort of there's a token full-figured model. You got models like Ashley Graham who are rocking the runway, doing the biggest advertising campaigns out there, and this is a great moment. Yes, there is still room for improvement, but there is in almost everything. But I think one step at a time, and we're trying.
And what's hot for fall and looking forward to spring too?
Well, there's obviously a lot of different things that are going on, and certainly for me at this particular moment, when it comes to furniture, because that's really what I'm here for, and where my inspiration comes from, and it is about living for me in an oasis of calm. It's creating a life and a home where you can go to and you can be inspired for the next day. If you live in Detroit, and I live in New York, or you live in a city like Chicago, these are busy cities. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. And so when you're out and about in the city, there's a lot of, you get stimulated, very overstimulated. So for me, that's the reason why the modern collection that I created is exactly where I like to go back to, because it's both comfortable, it's chic, And it creates that kind of blank canvas that allows you to be refreshed and go on to want to design the next day of your life.
And tell me about the Spirit of Champions collection. You've got a charitable.
Yes, well, so thank you. Charity is very important to me, giving back in general. And as a photographer, the ability to showcase other people and the things that they're doing and to shine a light on important issues. And I just created a book with Mimeo photos for Laureus Sport for Good, which is an incredible foundation, actually started in Europe, and it's a huge charity in Europe. And it's just really launched in the US in the past couple of years. And they've already done hundreds of millions of dollars worth of incredible grants to actually bring sports to neighborhoods and areas where there isn't enough sport or there isn't any sport available at all. And sport is an incredible thing for children. It's to teach children to participate in a team, to experience teamwork, and the confidence that sports brings kids when they realize they can actually do something, when they can score a goal. And this, of course, it's not just about the winning, but it's about how to lose and lose as a good sportsman. And that's such an important aspect. It's not how you fall, it's how you pick yourself up. And so, an organization like Laureus Sport for me was absolutely perfect, with a 12-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl. And, and I've seen my son is stand tall at the end of a game, even when he hasn't won, because he's known that he's tried his hardest. And that's very important.
Well, I appreciate your time. We've been talking with Art Van furniture designer, photographer, fashion judge Nigel Barker. I'm Beth Fisher, WWJ News Radio 950.